Hey guys, and welcome to my second build video for the Greymoor patch. This is going to be our heavy armor mythic setup for Magicka Dragonknight. So super quick, we are an Imperial to start out as our race. I think Imperial is really good with this class, and the reason for that is the red diamond passive right here. It's going to reduce the cost of all our abilities by 3%. We're going to get some healing and magic and stamina sustained from it as well when we deal direct damage. And as a Dragonknight, you have two sources of direct damage to pull from. The first source being casting abilities and weaving light attacks, and the second source being volatile armor. Volatile armor is considered a thorn damage ability, so that means when people attack you, they're going to get damage returned to them, and that damage return is considered direct damage. This can also proc your red diamond, so as long as you're in combat, the more people you have on you, you're actively casting abilities and taking damage, this will be proccing every 5 seconds. Imperial also gets 2000 max health and stamina, which help us in that we don't have to spec into things like tri-stat clips or tri-stat jewelry traits to get comfortable amounts of health and stamina. We can just spec into Magicka and end up with the same stat pools as races like Breton and High Elf. So we're running 64 points in the Magicka on this build. We are sitting at, on our staff bar, 35k Magicka, 29k health, 17k stam, with around 1200 Magicka recovery. We have 1200 health recovery and 1000 stamina recovery. Unbuffed, our spell damage is 2.5k. We have very small amounts of spell critical, but I will explain to you why this doesn't matter. Unbuffed, we have 18k spell resistance and 14.7k physical resist, and our critical resistance is sitting at 3k. We are running the Apprentice Mundus for this. We are not a vampire, and we are running Bewitched Sugar Skulls as our food. Right, and for our gear setup for this build, we are running 5 heavy armor in our body pieces, 1 light armor head, 1 medium armor shoulder. The sets we are running are going to be Eternal Vigor, Grothdar, 4-piece Stoons, and 1-piece Malacath Band for Brutality. Everything on the armor is Magicka glyphs. We are running 3 infused on our big pieces, 4 in pen on our smaller pieces. All of our jewelry is going to be arcane, and we are running an Inferno Staff or Nerdhoned with a Berserker enchant, and our back bar is going to be Defending One Hand of the Potentates and a Sturdy Shield of the Potentates with double dot damage, poisons, and stamp increase cost poison. Really quick, the main part of this build is Malacath Band of Brutality. This is a brand new mythic that you can get from Greymoor through Scrying and Excavating. It increases all of your damage done by 25% at the cost of you can no longer deal critical damage. And while that might sound kind of iffy, it's really not. Especially when you combine this mythic with something like a heavy armor build. Heavy armor builds have lower crit than their light and medium armor counterparts anyway, so it's not a stat that you really care about. So losing 19% spell critical in this build is no big deal at all. You take the 25% damage done over it all day, every day. This is one thing this is gonna really do for mag DKs as well is it's gonna make our dots hit really hard. Our dots are gonna put so much pressure on people, and because of that, we're running Grothdar as our 2-piece. Even without Elfbane, Grothdar is really, really strong. Malacath Band also increases the damage of proc sets for whatever reason. So when this goes off, having Burning Embers, Engulfing Flames, Talons, things like that on people, you're going to be dealing a ton of pressure to people. And that's why we're going with Grothdar as our monster set. Eternal Vigor is just such a strong set that you can get Overland in Western Skyrim. There is so much sustain built into the set that you do not have to look for it anywhere else other than the set itself. Also, when you're below 50% health, combined with heavy armor and our CP, you're going to have a ton of health recovery below 50% that you're going to get back a lot of health every 2 seconds. It's going to help keep you out of execute range and just help you get back up above 50% health that much quicker. Stoons, we're running this as a 4-piece. This is the best 4-piece to run with the Malacath Band in the game. There's not a single wasted stat on this stat line on this set. Malacath Band doesn't let us crit, so obviously we don't want spell critical lines on sets. This is perfect. 2 spell damage, 1 spell penetration. We're running this as all arcane, like I said, and we're doing all spell damage again on the jewelries. Staff trait here, there's a lot of good things you can run. Nirnhone, Sharpened, and Charged are all really good options to run. Charged is a really good trait that Dots Gaming has been using for a very long time and talking about for a very long time, and it is a very, very good trait indeed, especially combined with Grafthar. The amount of burning procs that you're going to be getting is going to be crazy. The amount of extra sustain you can get for it is crazy as well. However, for open world, outnumbered PvP, I prefer the extra damage of Nirnhone or Sharpened, as well as the Berserker enchant over something like a Charged Disease or Shocklip, which only really affect a single target. I think that the extra spell damage is more beneficial to your overall damage and healing and just better in open world in general, so I'm going to stick with Nirnhone here. Sharpened is also a really good one you can run as well. Backbar Potentates, super simple. We all know about this by now. It's really, really strong. Alright, skill breakdown. So really quick, Burning Embers, Fossilize, Elemental Drain, Flame Lash, Burning Talons, and Ferocious Leap. Backbar is going to be Coagulating Blood, Race Against Time, Cauterize, Degeneration, Volatile Armor, and Temporal Guard. So we have Talons on the front bar on this build, and even without Elfbane, Burning Talons is still really good. Getting an extra 5 seconds on the flame damage dot is nice, but it's not the main idea of Talons. The main idea of Talons is the crowd control that it gives you. What DK lacks in mobility, it makes up for with crowd control. And 3 things are going to happen when you hit somebody with Burning Talons. They're going to react in one of the following ways. 1, they are going to roll dodge and get out of your Talons. 2, they're going to cast a GCD to remove the immobilization and get out of your Talons. Or 3, they're going to have no idea what's going on, and they're just going to sit there bashing. And all of these 3 things have something in common. During them, the player is not going to be dealing damage to you, and that is huge. Being able to hit a button, hit 3, 4, 5, 6 players with an ability, and then have all of those players not deal damage to you for a GCD is an insane amount of damage mitigation. It's going to let you kite to get LOS. It's going to let you, turn around and hit somebody if they're, most usually those players that you see sitting there bashing are the ones that we go, oh yeah, that's the one I'm going to target. He's going to go down quick. Finding that person is going to let you turn around and deal damage on them, potentially taking out a target, killing somebody, and making your outnumber fight a little bit easier. But the big thing is hitting a button and stopping people from dealing damage. That is the main point of Talons. That's why we're running it on this build. Backbar here, Race Against Time, really good. It's going to give you 30% increased movement speed. Obviously, when we run the Malacath band, the critical damage increase by 10% is no longer useful to us. You can run Protective Plate in its place. Protective Plate is really good. I know a lot of players want the old Reflect back, but I think what we have currently is really, really strong. Being able to mitigate 50% of projectile damage for 6 seconds is kind of crazy when you think about it. It really, really, really hurts those snipes, crystal frags, poison injects, flame reaches, that sort of stuff. It's very, very strong. Cauterize we have on the back bar on this build for a couple reasons. 1, it's still a really good heal. 2, although you can't critically deal damage with Malacath Band on, you can critically heal. So we move this to the back bar to get our spell critical up so that our Coagulating Blood can crit more and our Cauterize can crit more. Degeneration is going to be our spell damage buff, and then Volatile Armor is going to be our armor buff. Temporal Guard for the ultimate for minor protection, synergizes super well with the Potentate's back bar, going to make you really tanky. One more thing, if you don't want to run Cauterize here, Draw Essence is always an option. This is a really good heal, and it becomes stronger the more people are on you. The explosion portion of the ability also gives you a really neat burst combo option. You can you can draw Essence, Talons to lock people in place, leap on them for the burst. You can draw Essence, fossilize a single target, and then whip or leap on them for a burst. Big burst damage. It's a really, really good ability. If you haven't tried it, I suggest trying it out. But Cauterize, still really good here. We are in heavy armor, so heavy armor is going to give us increased healing done. So having this on the back bar with this is still really solid healing that we're going to have. Alright, and now for the champion points for this build. So we are running 56 into Warlord, 75 Arcanist, 45 Tenacity, and 34 into Healthy. The additional 34 into Healthy is because we are running Eternal Vigor and we are trying to benefit off of health recovery, so we're trying to bump that up a little bit more. Also, we make sure we have 120 points into this for Wind Running. It increases our movement speed and mounted movement speed by 2% and increases our health and Magicka recovery while sprinting by 10%. Really good passive. 20 into Tumbling, 40 into Shadow Ward. We are running 43 into Blessed, 56 into Elemental Expert, 41 Spell Origin, 20 into Elfborn, 61 into Master at Arms, 49 into Thaumaturge. We're going lower on Elfborn in this one because we're running Malacath, and by one I mean that's the only reason. With Malacath, we obviously can't deal critical damage, so stacking heavy into this passive isn't as useful for us as it once was, but like I said, you can still critically heal with Malacath banned on, so that's why we're still keeping 9% into this passive. The increased healing done from heavy armor, plus points into Blessed, plus points into quick recovery that we'll get to, is a lot of healing on its own, so even a 9% increase to critical healing is still pretty good. It doesn't really need to be much higher than that. Again, I don't think Exploiter is worth it. This patch, we had to take a lot of points out of damage to put into healing to make up for the healing loss. Any more points taken out of this tree, in my opinion, will affect your overall DPS negatively for a 10% damage bonus against one off-balance target, and that off-balance can only occur on that target every 15, I think it's like 15 to 18 seconds. It's just, in my opinion, not worth it. This passive is just, it's not good, even with Flame Rush. I would not recommend it. For our red tree, 56 Ironclad, 38 Resistant, 56 Thick Skin, 51 into Hardened, 51 into Elemental Defender, and 18 into Quick Recovery. Because Heavy Armor does give us more healing done to ourselves, we are scaling back a little bit on Quick Recovery compared to our Light Armor build, and we're going to put more points into Hardy and Elemental Defender just to give us more defense, make us a little bit more tanky. And Resistant, we obviously take points out of that with the Impenetrable changes, and we can put, what we take out of that was put into Quick Recovery. So that's it for the CP and the Heavy Armor build, guys. There is going to be another video, which you may have seen already, for a Light Armor non-Mythic setup for CP PvP, so definitely check that out if you're interested, and thanks for watching.